Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel. I just got back from an early screening of Twisters, the new 2024 legacy sequel to the 90s film directed by Lee Isaac Chung. We'll talk about it. I apologize, the background here is kind of weird. I'm still in the process of moving rooms and getting my new office set up, so there's not really a great spot to get a good recording in for this, so I apologize. But we're here to talk about Twisters. Overall, I'm positive on the movie. I've never been that big on the original Twister. I haven't watched it in like 25 years, though. So to be fair, maybe it's a better movie than I'm giving it credit for. But I haven't had the need to rewatch the original Twister. I haven't felt that urge. But seeing this one, I liked this one. Didn't love it. There were some things that I think they do really well with the production, and there's some things that I just don't really care for. I think Lee Isaac Chung's direction in the film is overall pretty solid. I like the look of the movie. I like how he maneuvers the characters around in the scene. I really enjoy kind of the camera placement that he worked with his DP to make. There's some specifically spectacular shots during the Twister action. There's a lot of action in the film. That much has to be said. I think the movie works on the Twisters, works on the actions, works on the disaster portions. So that, if you're going to just see that, you know, much in the same way you go to a slasher movie for the kill sequences, you go to a Twisters movie for the Twisters action, and I think this is going to work for that. The film feels like a crowd pleaser. It feels in some ways kind of like kind of comparatively to Top Gun Maverick in terms of like we're going to go bigger, grander, but also just kind of really hammer in the simplicity of the story at times. The story is actually by Joseph Kosinski. I've never seen a story credit from him, but he directed Top Gun Maverick. So he came up with, I think, a pretty cool story for this film. Again, it's nothing like drastically different than what we saw with Twister, but I think it's presented pretty well. I'll be honest, there were times during the story where, like, in the aftermath, I'm thinking, well, obviously that's what's going to happen. But watching the movie at the time, I didn't really know how things were going to play out. I like the competing aspect of these tornado chasers. There's the more scientific-based one that Daisy Edgar-Jones' character is attached to, and then there's the more cowboy-esque version of the guys just going out tornado wrangling, as they call it in the movie, played by Glen Powell. And I like that there's the differences between those two, and it kind of does come to a head pretty nicely with how they're forced to interact as the film goes on. So I like those portions of it. Daisy Edgar-Jones is fantastic. This is an actress who I feel like she's on the verge of like popping in a major way, which is weird because she starred in films like Where the Crawdads Sing. I think she was in Fresh, that film that came out on Hulu a couple years ago, but I haven't felt the need that she's actually like popped in a way that if you put her name on a marquee, people would recognize it. But I think she's on the verge of doing that, and I think she's worthy of it. I think I've only seen her doing great performances across the board. So I really want to see more for her. I'm hoping for the best. Glen Powell's doing the Glen Powell thing, but he does it well. So like, can you really complain? I guess not. My problems with the movie is I feel like there's a lot of wasted space in terms of the characters and in terms of how they're maneuvered around. Or I guess I should reemphasize. There's a lot of wasted space with characters doing things that like are kind of rote. Outside of our initial three performers, there's not really anyone that's like more than just a stock character outside of Glen Powell, Daisy Edgar-Jones, and Daisy's character's friend Javi in the film, who is played by Anthony Ramos. I was trying to catch the name there. I like Anthony Ramos in the movie as well, too. I like his kind of what were revealed about him as the movie goes on. You know, I think David Cornsweet does the most in the movie with what he's given, but I don't think he has that much in this film. He's kind of honestly, I didn't realize it was him for a few minutes, but he's kind of just playing, again, like the stock character of exactly what you think that character will turn out to be. And that's what most of the people outside the main cast and crew are. I mean, Katie O'Brien's in the movie, and I love Katie O'Brien, and she doesn't really get much to do. It's that kind of thing throughout the whole process outside of those main three characters. And I wish that we had gotten more of them because it felt the easy way out to put a lot of those characters in the background. And like, for example, the tornado wranglers are incredibly annoying for a good chunk of the beginning of the film because they're kind of that equivalent of woo girls, woo, woo, woo. And it becomes a lot. And there's some good character actors or up and coming actors in that group. They just, like, their whole thing in the portion of the movie is just, woo, oh my gosh, look what we're doing, woo. and it became really annoying. And I mean, even Glen Powell's character is annoying as hell when we first meet him, but I think that's kind of intentional. His works in that way, but there's just nothing for the other ones to do in the film. I also really didn't like the needle drops. I know this is kind of a weird thing to nitpick, but the movie is full of needle drops, full of musical cues. And I actually kind of like Benjamin Wallfish's score when that's apparent, but so often in the film we're given these kind of cowboys, country kind of songs, and I didn't think any of them really fit the movie, which is weird because on the outset you'd feel like they would, but listening to them in the context of the film, so many of these song choices just did not work for me. And I know it's a weird thing to like hinge on, but it's so prevalent in the movie that it did kind of pull my interest a little bit because it was kind of just, it felt like someone fed a generic country song into AI and then spit that onto the screen because they needed one for the movie. And I'm sure maybe those people like those songs. I'm not huge on country, but at the same time, if it fits the movie, I'm going to call it out as fitting the movie. And if it doesn't, like it does here, I just think Benjamin Wallfish's score was way better when we actually get to hear it. But so often it's these random needle drops that I don't think added anything. So I know these are weird nitpicks, and I'm overall recommending the film. I just think it could have been stronger. I think it could have been more well put together. But the movie, see the movie for Daisy Edgar-Jones, see the movie for Glen Powell, see the movie for Anthony Ramos, see the movie for Lee Isaac Chung, who I really love as a director that, made this brilliantly beautiful small movie like Minari, and then went on and said, like, I want to make a big budget Twisters sequel. Like that's really cool to me that he's a director that wants to kind of play in both of those worlds, and he wants to add a little bit of artistic integrity to the film. And he does it at times. And I think, again, some of the action pieces, specifically there's one, the opening of the film is absolutely tense. There's one later on where the Twisters kind of move through an area where there's fire going on, and they like pick up the fire, and it kind of becomes this like hell tornado. That was really cool too. There was a lot of great action in the movie, and I definitely wouldn't be upset if you made me watch it again. There's just some missteps here and there that very much feel like kind of committee choices for this Legacy sequel, and I don't think that most of the other characters get anything really to do in the movie. I couldn't name most of the characters in the movie. It's why I've been referring to most of them as the actors' names, because I honestly couldn't name most of them, especially outside of those initial three. I couldn't even conjure an attempt at naming any of the characters in the movie at all. And so that's kind of disappointing because I think that's where Lee Isaac Chung really went above and beyond with Minari. So, it's not like a major recommendation, but I think if you're looking for a crowd-pleasing experience this weekend when Twisters open up, I think you're going to find that with the movie. I had a lot of fun with it. There's just some flaws that were kind of, I think it could have been elevated to a level of what I was hoping it would be, which is more of like a Top Gun Maverick, where we really kind of lift up this movie that people loved from 25 years ago and did it on a big and more bombastic scale. And it does that, just not as much as I wanted it to. But overall, it is a recommendation, slight recommendation for Twisters. I think you'll have a lot of fun if you check it out this weekend. And if you do, go ahead and down in the comments section, let me know your thoughts on the film. Maybe you completely disagree with me. And maybe you loved the original Twister and you love the new Twisters. I'd love to hear that too. I'm not here to bash on the movie. I'm just here to give you my thoughts, and I'd love to have the conversation with you. So let me know down in the comments section. While you're down there, like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do that help to support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also find GoatFilmReviews.com from any written reviews. You can find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Threads. And you can find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Plotachuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. You can also find a link in the description of this video for the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. It is a local film critics group in Minneapolis, and I guess the surrounding areas of Minnesota. I'm a member of that, so you can find my reviews as well as other reviews from my colleagues over there. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a good time this weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. See ya.